like music, right? You have like a music score, you have the lyrics. It's not just hitting the notes again, like you're the machine or like it's something automated. You have to give it soul, you have to feel it, you have to intentionally train when you're doing your biceps curls. You have to feel it and you have to make it give it purpose, and then that's also gonna show on stage.
Would you trade your sin for a part of gold? 'Cause the devil within is eating at my goals. Would you choose him?
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 153 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, whether you're natty or not natty. We don't judge either way here. I'm not a fan of this subject personally because it usually ends up in arguments one way or another. But at the end of the day, bodybuilding, like all professional sports, is loaded with the use of performance-enhancing drugs. Whether you choose to use them is a personal decision, and for those of you that choose to keep it natty, there are options to compete without the use of PEDs. Jairo Chang is back on the show after episode 121 to answer questions that we've received since then about all things natural bodybuilding. In case you don't know, Jairo is a professional natural bodybuilder, powerlifter, judge, and competition promoter. Jairo, welcome back, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me back here. I'm very excited and I'm looking forward to another good one.
Big time. Before we start, I'm just dying to ask. I'm loving your background, by the way. That really threw me. So there's 3 plates on a curl bar. Is that what I'm seeing? I'm hoping
Yes,
that
you are.
did,
You actually, yeah, that's actually what. Yeah.
So was that just like your pregame pump before the interview or something? Just banging out some curls with 300 pounds or?
I was just, before the show, I was casually curling 315 pounds. No, I'm just kidding. It's cool you asked that. Yeah, this is actually my office where I work. And when my coworkers walk inside my office, they see like 3 plates on a curling bar. They're always like, wait a minute. We got these. These are props called. We got them for our show. So we're going to have these for our photo booth. Let me give you a quick demonstration here of the power.
All right.
You see,
I love it. You could totally do a side lateral with it or a concentration curl with it.
Don't act like you're not impressed. Anyway, so obviously fake plates. Yeah, we're gonna have, since the Open Natural is gonna be a family-friendly event, we're gonna have these props with a backdrop for chilled. I guess not children, but grown ups. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a good time with it, and it's just for the heck of fun.
Yeah. No, I'm getting some pictures on that for sure.
As my friend Dave says, like bodybuilding, like after all, bodybuilding is not about how much you lift, but about how much you can look like you could lift.
Right on. Did you know that? I'm sure you know this, but back in the day for tiebreakers, they would actually have curling competitions. Back in, I think it was like right before Arnold started competing or around that time.
The AAU, they used to do that. Yeah, like strength feats and bodybuilding, like in the same event. That's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, that just sounds like a bicep tear waiting to happen. Well, good stuff, brother. Is it okay if we jump into some listener questions right away?
Absolutely, please.
All right. So we got a question here from Kellie. Do you recommend more strict shows like OCB and INBA, or does it really make a difference to the testing of like less strict federations?
That's a good one to open. Because we have, there's so many federations. I've been doing a lot of research when doing this show, because initially I wanted to do a sanctioned show. And so I was trying to pick, okay, which, like the ethical part is very important to me. So, okay, so which one is more ethical? Which one does more drug testing? I personally, I only have experience with, I think, 6 organizations that I've competed with, or maybe, 6 or 7, or I have volunteered with. Personally, I have judged with the OCB, but I've never competed with them really. So I think, and it's hard. I like what I see on social media. They're very friendly. They They're very supportive of other organizations. With all those things being said, it's hard for me to tell you which one's the best or the most strict. What I would suggest, what I would tell
I'm
your
sorry, it
friend.
probably kind of depends on who's promoting the show too.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. It often comes to the promoter. So my tip would be, don't be afraid to ask questions to the promoter. Like, for example, if they are running, okay, if they put the word natural, are they doing polygraph tests or are they doing urine tests? Who's being polygraphs? Because some organizations, they would only do like random poly. So what does random mean? I mean, I don't think random exists. There's always got to be some criteria for who's going to be poly or urine tested. Generally, they would do the lie detector to everyone, and then only some people would get urine tested because it's very expensive. But going back to my tip to the person who's asking, I would say don't be afraid to ask questions. For example, if they're doing a polygraph test, you want to ask, hey, what are the credentials of the examiner? Because the polygraph is just a machine. Anyone can buy that machine, like on Amazon.com, and then you can have any person run the poly. That wouldn't make sense. That's like, because the machine is just an instrument. It's like if you give me like the most expensive guitar, and I'm not a guitar player, I'm not gonna make it sound good. So don't be afraid to ask, okay, is this person like a former FBI, CIA investigator or something like that? Sometimes I know they had a person like that for the NGA, and that was really impressive, but that's not always the case. So as for the credentials of the examiner, I'm a fan of urine testing, but with urine testing, it can only be done with a lab. So I can't just ask my friend Steve to do it, but we have to send those results for a lab. My advice for urine testing, you can tell them, hey, am I going to see the results? Or are you just collecting my urine sample? I need to know what you do with it. So if they're serious, they would share the results for you. They would share the results with you. And you can also ask him, like, what lab is going to, just don't be afraid to ask questions. I remember when I was competing, I was always like afraid, like, oh, are they going to give me a hard time if they're asking questions? I know promoters are, generally they're very friendly, and we actually appreciate the questions because those are things that we are putting a lot of effort into. Mm-hmm. So we actually feel respected when people are more interested in the details.
100%. Yeah, I love how you described the difference between just the machine, the polygraph, and who's actually running it too, because we just had a competitor do a NPC natural show, and so that was a random polygraph, right? She got tested, but she doesn't know if everybody else got tested, and so I love NPC. It's great for exposure. It's a wonderful experience as a competitor, but for a fair level playing field, it's kind of hard to really know when you don't know if everybody's tested. And even with urine samples too, correct me if I'm wrong, but it costs additional money, right, to send it and to get it and to get it tested and everything. So I've heard of what I call them is hardcore natural federations, and what I mean is very, very strict testing, that they're actually following through with all the testing guidelines. I've heard that a lot of times after EP that they don't even do anything with it.
Exactly. Also, I think it's important. Hey, may I see the results? Because I think it's really cool when people actually, like we as natural bodybuilders, we're proud of it. And I see a lot of people on social media after they win a show and they get all the hating for people who are skeptical. Then they would post it. Hey, here are my results. I was tested for these 87 substances. And guess what? They tested all negative. But for polygraph, it's, again, it only makes sense if you have a good examiner, and it's not as, it's almost like an opinion, because also even if you get the professional CIA, FBI examiner, for logistic reasons, they have to do like a 10-minute version of what an actual polygraph test would be. So I think the poly is good as an extra layer, but the poly itself, it's still questionable, especially given the 10-minute version.
Mm-hmm. I always get asked some trick questions when I do a polygraph. I don't know if that's typical, but like, have you ever cheated on a high school assignment? I mean, weird stuff to where it's like they can pin you down to a lie so they can tell if you're lying. And then I don't even know how it works, but that's just what I've experienced. I've also noticed that everybody's extremely nervous going into these too, and there's some people that'll fail them just because they're nervous. Like Carly, she almost failed, and she's the most natural person on the face of the earth. I promise you. it was hard to get her to start taking creatine. But yeah, it was about 15 minutes because he was like, all right, you're not passing the test. and then she goes, and then so he had to ask her some more questions to figure out when he knows for sure that she was lying. And then he put the 2 pages together and he was like, oh, okay, no, you're totally telling the truth. So that's basically what that came down to.
Yeah, that is exactly how they work. Yeah, they do those control questions on you. And I think that's actually the right way of doing it. That's what a professional polygrapher does. They take it seriously. I was actually one time, this show I was competing, I was disappointed. I come to a hotel room and the guy takes my money. Okay, and then he says jokingly, okay, we got the most important part down. And then he asked me like 4 questions, and that's it. Okay, you go. Like 2 minutes. I'm like, what? Like I've been natural my entire life just for this. So yeah, I think it's good to have when the polygrapher takes it seriously.
Absolutely. Question number 2 is from Nathan. He says, what is your personal experience competing in OCB and IFPA? Would you recommend these federations?
With IFPA, it used to be the IFPA used to be a professional affiliate of OCB. Now they have OCB and OCB Pro. I don't have experience competing with OCB. I have experience judging and volunteering with OCB. It's tricky. Just like many organizations, they have like great shows, right? So the OCB has premier shows like the Yorton Cup. There's another one called OCB No Gear. They have a good show in Arizona. I can't remember the name right now. They have like all sorts of like very very amateur shows and like premier shows. So like the name itself, OCB, doesn't tell you much. It depends mostly on the promoter. I think my suggestion would be when you're picking a show is asking yourself first, like what things matter to you, and then pick the show itself based on those things. For example, when I was competing, one of the most important things to me was the venue. So am I going to have a good venue? Because if the whole thing, we don't make money with this, but at the end, we want to walk away with like cool pictures, right? For promoting our business or whatever your reason is for competing. So you want a good venue that has professional lighting. So if you pick a show that takes place on a theater, then it's guaranteed that you're going to have like professional lighting because they're already there. Do you care about awards? You want like the bodybuilding trophies, or are they giving out? Some people like swords, some people like I guess not many people like cups, but women like the what you call it, like tiaras. Is that what you call, like the crowns? Yeah, what they're doing. Another thing that comes to mind, I was talking to one person who's gonna be in my show. He's from China. She was asking me like which organizations are international. I think the international, is it a national organization or international? A personal experience, I competed with the guys in Canada, NPAA. They are the Canadian affiliate of non-BF. I think it's really cool when they're international. I guess I won a small show in Canada, just 3 hours from Seattle. You drive 3 hours north to Vancouver. And I remember I posted on my social media, hey guys, and then my family's in Colombia. And then I posted that I won a show like in Canada. So it makes it look cool. It makes it look international, even though it was just a small show. And it was even here like on local news. It just makes it look cooler, right?
That's legit. Yeah. And did you say NANBF?
It's called NPAA, National Physique Athletics Association, something like that. And yeah, so they are like the NANBF equivalent to Canada. NPAA.
Yeah, because the first 8 shows that I did were all back and forth between NANBF and INBF. And so I was always trying to get my WNBF card. Came close in November of 2019. It's right before our daughter was born. So that was kind of my last stab at trying to get it, and got freaking second place again to someone that was 20 years older than me. You know how it goes in bodybuilding. So it's the 50-year-olds that are always the best.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, great. Third question is from Mark. Drug use is everywhere here in Ireland. Is it better or worse in the States? Just overall. Do you have any idea?
Well, I've never been to, I guess, to Europe to be fair, like to compare, but
it seems a lot less taboo over there from everyone. A lot of the consultations that I get are European. That's how far you have to go to find people that are going to do a bodybuilding show on a meat and salt diet.
Yeah,
it just kind of seems a bit more casual over there than it does over here.
Yeah, I can speak for out of what I know. I grew up in South America, where it was like, it was no big deal either. It was no taboo. And I believe in Europe, they only became controlled substances relatively recently. It hasn't always been like that. I think it's only been in the past few decades. I think it's a bigger issue in the United States. And the reason why is because here it's so restricted. It's a controlled substance. You see a lot of the bodybuilders that would get their stuff in the black market. So I know a friend who used to compete with the NPC. So he would get the stuff from China, and then they would make that like in a questionable lab, or they would buy like ingredients and they would mix it like here, like in a garage. It was like really dark and they were dangerous. But I guess in Europe, I believe there's a few countries where it's still legal. So at least they would get, I mean, I'm not recommending anyone would do it, but at least if they're doing something, it comes from a legit lab. So for that reason,
not from Mexico or from who knows where.
Yeah. I guess people get it here from Mexico. In Mexico, I think it's still, I believe you don't need a prescription. Yeah, actually getting on Mexico would be a little bit safer than buying somewhere here. Anyway,
or just stay natural. That's probably the safest way to.
Yeah, I agree. But I think it's let's say, did you say your friend is? You said your friend is natural, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say just pick a natural show. Just pick a show that's sanctioned by a natural organization or by a group that you see that they are that they believe in the cause of natural bodybuilding.
100%. Awesome. Question number 4 is from Melina. I am a natural bodybuilder looking to compete for the first time. Where do I even start when identifying what show to compete in?
Well, a lot like the other question we were talking about, you want to see what things matter to you. As a natural, again, I always recommend people to, if you're a natural, pick a show that stands for natural bodybuilding. Sometimes you would see like the word natural on the show, but you want to see if it actually is natural, if it's a natural federation. Sometimes they would put, we might test you, like there might be some that's not natural. Or sometimes you would see shows like, we have this happens a lot in powerlifting as well. Hey, like Saturday we're gonna have this tested bodybuilding, and then Saturday non-tested, and then Sunday tested. So it's an organization that's basically just taking your money, like they don't really believe in the cause.
Yeah.
So usually when you see that, again, that I saw that in powerlifting, actually in the same venue, same day, you got tested athletes and non-tested athletes. So I don't know, and it just didn't feel right. So yeah, just go with an organization that stands for that. Again, I'm a fan of urine testing over polygraph. Polygraph is cool, but only as long as it's like an additional layer. Like everyone gets polygraphed, and then winners should always be urine test, not random testing, but like big winners. There's got to be some sort of criteria for picking who's going to be tested or not. Yeah,
that sounds very fair. And if you cheat at the end of the day, you're the one that has to live with yourself the rest of your life, right? On a personal note, I do have to tell you that I'm not a fan of urine testing. If I had to pick one of the two, I would definitely pick the polygraph as a competitor, because every time I've had to take a urine test after a show, I've had a heck of a time peeing because I'm always hydrated. So I know that I don't typically teach this. I don't think it's a good idea. It's certainly not healthy, but it is the best way that I can get dry and actually see chiseled abs. And that's loading water like crazy during the week and then cutting it at 6 p.m. the night before my refeed. And so basically the entire day that I'm on stage, I'm actually extremely dehydrated, obviously. And peeing afterwards, when there's, in most cases, it's been a lady holding for me to pee. And I'm like, okay, there's like 3 reasons why it's going to be really tough for me to pee right now, but I can get the job done. I just need some water. And so I think that I think I've always, I don't know if this is typical, but I've always been tested after the show, which is nice because then you can get water and not ruin your physique. So
yeah, that's the way it should be. After they have picked the winners, then you can relax. Well, I don't know if relax, but you can try have a little bit of less of a block.
So that because being nervous and everything. All right. So question from Mats, and this is kind of heading the same direction here. So I think we've already covered this, but he would like to ask, how many tests are done in a natural bodybuilding show to ensure that no one is cheating? So I guess for you guys, there we go. It's the polygraph and the urine test. So
yeah, and again, if you think about it, like the Olympic Games, you don't see that they do polygraph testing in the Olympic Games because, again, if you want to do the sports version, it has to be like a simplified version, which is, I'm not gonna say easier to cheat, but it's easier to cheat than like a full, if you're doing like for a criminal, like something more serious, not just for sports. Mm-hmm. So they still, the Olympics and those sports like that, they still do the urine testing. And urine testing, I have to say, a lot of people say, oh, that you can do like masking agents. So you can do like this substance, but then you erase it with this other substance. So urine testing, it has also evolved, just like drugs evolve, or they make undetectable drugs, like just the way drugs evolve, urine testing evolves as well. And that's why it's so hard to cheat it. Personally, I mean, I'm speaking with the guys from, we're using Redwood Toxicology Lab. I can't even think of a way how you would test it. They measure your testosterone levels, like exogenous versus endogenous. They do like ratios. If urine testing was easy to cheat, they wouldn't have to, like in the Olympics, they wouldn't have to like switch the samples. Like once we get your sample, we will know for sure what you're doing.
100%. Curiosity question then. Okay, so did you ever have anybody that comes into a show that, or someone that you're coaching that's a natural bodybuilder that's on TRT or that's taking DHEA? I always forget how it goes.
DHEA, yeah.
Because like those typically aren't really anabolic or used for performance enhancing purposes. So if you have someone that is like on a diuretic, for example, right? We had someone that was on a prescription diuretic, and so we tried to get her off of it. She started retaining water like crazy, and so then I realized, okay, this is a terrible idea, and I called the promoter and I was like, hey, she's taking this substance. Is this okay? Are things like that are not performance enhancing drugs, but that are banned substances, technically speaking, or you need a prescription or something? Is that something to where an athlete could typically ask the promoter and say, hey, is this okay?
Yeah, they're always good questions to ask. And I know for the TRT, it's always a controversial subject because like true TRT wouldn't give you a competitive advantage. It's just for a person that needs it for a genuine reason. Just
keeps you alive if you need it.
Yeah. Basically, if you have a low T, then you would be depressed and would be even hard to get off the couch and go to work and live a normal life. However, people could potentially use it for cheating. It kind of opens a loophole. Right. I guess if you have a person like I could ask. I think the best answer would be to just ask Redwood Toxicology Lab, and they would give me a better answer.
Totally. Yeah. My doctor's recommending that I take DHEA, which apparently is a banned substance.
That one, to be honest with you, I see like most organizations, and I think what they had was you can take up to 50 milligrams per day, but it's very hard to track. I mean, it's almost like an honor system. How am I gonna go? Oh, you took 55 milligrams, called like there's no way I could tell. So,
yeah.
And honestly, I don't think that's based on the research that I've done. That substance is not that. There's no final agreement. Like some would consider like it's gonna give you an advantage, or some people just see it just as another supplement. I think you would be fine in short.
Cool. And stuff. Well, I'll tell them that I can take it then. That's okay.
For my show. I can't speak for all the organizations. I'm speaking for my show.
Yeah, he was like, "What's your life like?" And I basically told him like how much we work and everything that we have going on. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not surprised." He's like, "You could use some DHEA." I was like, "Okay, thanks." Yeah. So, when are sign up deadlines for your show, sir?
Well, the show happens on July 22nd, but we because our trophies are so expensive, we get a discount when we buy them in bulk. So we have to buy them 8 weeks in advance. We have to place the order, where for them they actually won't make them until you order. They spray them, they ship them. So with that being said, June 30 is gonna be like our very last deadline to sign up. I have to say, I was gonna make an announcement this week, but I guess since we're here, we really want to promote enrollment, and one of the classes that we really want to push is like female bodybuilding. So we're gonna give just in the next, let me see, April 27, for the next 10 days, we're gonna give out free t-shirts to people who sign up in the next few days. Let me show you what I'm wearing right now, actually.
Nice.
This is what the t-shirts look like. And these are two natural bodybuilders. Let me show you the.
I recognize them. What's the gentleman's name?
Benny Mobley. Just
okay.
So Benny Mobley, the guy here on the t-shirt, he's actually going to be our guest poster. He's a guy here from Bellevue, Washington.
Oh man, so he's going after me, right? Because if I can't top that.
You'll be fine. I've seen your pictures, things that you have posted lately. I think you're doing your homework, and you'll be fine, boss.
I'm trying, man. I want to represent.
So yeah, so we're gonna give giving out free t-shirts for people who sign up by April 27. After April 27, the t-shirts will go on sale. So this is what they look like. I was planning on taking pictures. I'm gonna take a picture of one. My sister's my co-promoter. So we were gonna take pictures on Thursday, and then they make the announcement. But since you're here, yeah, here they are.
Nice. That's beautiful. Well, I'm honored that we get to see the shirt premiere.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Have you ever considered making the Open Natural a sanctioned event out of curiosity? Because that's kind of the nice thing and the selling point that I've been using whenever anybody's asking about shows. I was like, you should check out this one. It's great. I see it as being a wonderful opportunity for a first-time bodybuilder, or for someone that's competed before, with a very, very fair level playing field, without having to commit to buying an NPC card or an INBF card or anything. It's just a non-sanctioned bodybuilding show. Have you ever considered making it sanctioned?
No, I think that's exactly how we see it, and it's one of the things that make us different. I can think at least of a couple of reasons why we make it non-sanctioned. One is it makes it more friendly. People don't have to commit to one organization. We're just like supporting the bodybuilding community, like the natural bodybuilding community as a whole. And also we're planning, right now it's a very friendly show. It's literally the Open is an opener to the season. So anyone, OCB, WNBF, AAU, NGA, anyone can do it. And the other reason is we're planning to grow in the future, of course. And I will like the open concept because it doesn't limit you to one organization, right? Once the show grows big, let's say, think of three of the biggest shows right now, right? So you have WNBF Worlds, you have IP Worlds, you have OCB Jordan Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great titles, but when you win it, if you win OCB Jordan Cup, you're the best OCB bodybuilder, or you're the best WNBF bodybuilder. But wouldn't it be cool to have like just go beyond sanctions, like I'm the best bodybuilder around, period. And that's the direction that Mr. America is taking. There, Mr. America is also a non-sanctioned show, so I think that's the direction we want to go into.
I love it. And I love your perspective on bodybuilding just in general too. We're talking about and thanks, by the way. I'm just pulling up your email of my stats starting from now. Looks like we're a little over 10 weeks out. So getting down to about $193. I think that might be a little bit too low. I don't know. We'll see how I feel around 195 pounds, but going for the
higher 190s, I think you're gonna look great.
Yeah, I think I'll be fuller and not look like I'm super hungry. Not look like I'm starving.
And that's the idea, because you're I might be a promoter, but you're the actual host of the show, so you're gonna be projecting the energy, and you're gonna.
And I gotta be able to think, and I can't think.
You're gonna be showing the idea, that bodybuilding is fun, right?
Yeah, I've been told by a lot of my clients that, and I've been told by a lot of my clients that I'm a better coach when I don't have glute striations. Speaking of which, okay, on glute striations, I got this bad boy here. This covers up my glutes. Wore this one swimming today. I've posed in these before.
No.
Or do you want me wearing something a little like less flashy and just like classic era black or white?
No, I say enjoy yourself. You as a guest poster, you have the freedom to just break all the rules. Like for competitors, they have like, oh, you can only post for 60 seconds. You have to wear this suit. No props allowed. To you, it's like, no, just wear whatever you want. Please post for more than 60 seconds. Pick your music. I remember I once was a guest poster, and I like that was when the movie, I think when the first Expendables movie was out. So I was wearing that suit, and I got like those stripper pants, and I tore them, and I ripped my shirt. So you can do crazy stuff like that. One of the coolest memories I have for guest posing was I think I can't remember which show it was. When the Avenger movies were the new thing. I think John Nicholson was the Hulk, and then Marla was another superhero. I remember Moji Oluwa was Thor. Benny was Captain America. I don't know do you remember that show, or were you around?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they made it, they made a theme. Yeah, they make it out of a theme. I think that was really cool.
I'm writing this down.
I like how you're taking notes. I love that.
Yeah, because now the comedian in me is starting to come out. This is okay. Maybe I won't, because I can't compete with that guy now. So if I can get more laughs, I'll count that as a win.
Absolutely, my friend.
Yeah, the athlete will be disappointed, but the comedian will be proud. I'm just kidding. Well, cool. Yeah, so I've actually posed in these before, and the judges got mad at me for using them because apparently it wasn't classic physique appropriate.
Yeah, they're not.
I'm gonna bust these out. Tanning. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna go with an all natural tan, because if I'm wearing clothes during the day, it'll completely ruin it. So why not just get as dark as I can without using any spray tanning? Do you think that might simplify things, or would I not be dark enough?
That's a good one. I think you should do it the night before. Obviously, don't do it right before you get on stage. Yeah, because it's going to be stinky. But I think night before or 2 days before would be fine. I'm going to ask your question to our tanning person. By the way, our tanning is going to be in care of West Coast tanning with Terry Claus. She's been doing it with WNBF and OCB. She worked for a tanning company before. So we're actually proud. She's going to be one of our vendors for the show. Yeah, West Coast tanning.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of SuperSetYourLife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes. Your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
Okay. So you're gonna, they're gonna do tanning like probably the second half of the day, Friday for the most part, and then everybody.
Exactly. And it's always safer. I learned this the hard way. It's always safer to go with a tanning vendor, because you're gonna look like everybody else. You're not gonna be in disadvantage. And then if something goes wrong, if you start like melting or something like that, they're gonna fix you right away before you get on stage.
Yeah. I've tanned myself, and we used to tan our competitors because we were sponsored by Paradise Airbrush Tanning in California for a while, and so we were freaking packing up all this stuff across the border to Edmonton and tanning our own competitors with it too. And it's fun because then you don't have to wait in line, and if something happens to the show's tanning, then then at least you're covered. But the problems we were running into was, my color was always different than everybody else's, and it just annoyed the judges. That was the feedback I was getting. They're like, why are you doing your own tanning? And I was like, okay, well, I'm a business person. I mean, like, instead of everybody paying $150 for a tan, why don't I just buy all my own tanning equipment and then freaking charge $90, And so we were coming out ahead doing it, but it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, a lot smarter to go with what everybody else is doing. And then the nice thing too, like if you're really worried about something happening with, like, it was at the Northern Classic, not this last year, but the year before that, NPC Northern Classic. I had a competitor there, and someone stole the tanning van, like literally stole a tanning van, and so we were giving everybody else touch-ups just to help keep the show going. So that was, I guess, kind of the nice thing. But what you got to remember as a competitor too, correct me if I'm wrong, is if something always goes wrong at every single show. I mean, like it's either behind schedule, it's ahead of schedule, the tanning crew has their stuff together, or they don't. But it's still fair for everybody because everybody's dealing with the same stuff. So it's like, oh, this is stressful. The show's delayed. Yeah, it's delayed for everybody. It's still fair. Okay, we all have to deal with it. So
100%.
Yeah. I think I had a couple other questions here too. Yeah. These are just some curiosity ones. That's all right. Okay. How many shows in a season do you typically see as being achievable for a natural bodybuilder within one season?
That's a good one, because the first thing that comes to mind, I don't know if you have the magic number, but the first thing that comes to mind is that, one is not enough, because bodybuilding, it takes, especially natural bodybuilding, it takes so long to prep. You're slowly adding mass. And then I think it's got to be more than one show. And then if you only do one show, you don't really know for sure if you reach your max potential, like your true stage lean, that like the what you call it, if you're like dialed in the way you want it. So I'm going to say three. I'm going to say 3 shows per season. I'm going to say one show is going to be your opener, like the open natural, where you can like experiment, go a little bit more relaxed. And then if you want to try something new, you can do, carb loading, sodium manipulation, anything like that, you could try it there. And it's just an open, friendly show. I'm gonna say your second show is gonna be a qualifier to something else, and then for example, I don't know, second show you get a pro card, and then the third show is a pro show. Or if you're already a pro, you could do a show. Your second show could be a qualifier, to Worlds or Jordan Cup or something like that, and then the third show is gonna be like the big show.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a really great plan, and that's kind of what I encouraged a couple of these people that reached out to me about. Hey, where should I even start with looking for a show? Was the Open Natural would be a great place to start for those reasons, and then from there you can decide. It all boils down to what are you competing for? If you want to compete because you want to be a pro, and you're a natural bodybuilder, please don't waste your time with NPC. I love NPC, and I do NPC because I get a lot of exposure doing it, and it's fun. And I love and a lot of the competitors that I coach, they're doing the same shows anyway, and so it just makes more sense for me to head that direction. If you want to be a natural pro, as a guy, I don't think you really stand a chance anymore, right? As a lady, maybe, but with the with the good organizations that I know really test everybody hard, like NANBF and INBF, WNBF, IPE. Those are the only federations that I personally have any experience competing in. That's where you want to go if you really want to win. If first place is important to you. And doing any more than 3 shows, I think you're just running your body into the ground at that point. You're gonna lose a lot of muscle mass. I mean, we all lose some muscle going into a show, right? My joke on natural bodybuilding is if you're natural going into a show, then your whole, don't worry about weight class so much. Your goal is just to get shredded, and thank God that you still have every bit of muscle that you still have left by the time you get that shredded. Right? I mean, to some degree. And so
it can be humbling to when you find what your stage weight is going to be. Like looking at the number, it's always less than you thought, right?
It's way
like if
less.
You're in the off season at 200, we tend to think, oh, I'm probably gonna be ripped at 190. It's like, no, keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. And you'll be surprised how a lot of champions they are. It's all about how you look on stage. They look huge on stage, but they're not really that heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be heavy to win.
I think it was Cliff Wilson that said, when you think you're shredded and you're ready to step on stage, lose 10 more pounds and then you're probably there. Yeah, no, it was humbling. The first couple shows that I did, I was about 198 and 199, and just nowhere. I'm leaner now than I was then, right? And so my actual good competitive stage weight was 189 pounds in Edmonton. That was the closest I ever came to becoming natural pro. And then the last show that I did, it was a drug tested and a non-tested back to back. I did both of them, and there was a day between the two. Non-tested one, I tried to out shred everybody, and so that one I was a buck 83, and then I ate 6 pounds of sweet potatoes that day to fill out for the for the non-tested one, knowing that they would value mass over that. And I got watery, but I really filled up. I got all the way to 189 pounds, and that's how I was able to get 5th place. I didn't even think I would place. I was like, yeah, I'd place at this show. Woo!
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it is humbling. It's funny. Okay. Why should spectators attend a bodybuilding show? It's bodybuilding is kind of a cult sport, right? And so like most people that go to shows are typically friends, family, which I think is dumb. There's very few things to me that are more exciting. Let me put it this way. I would way rather go to a big bodybuilding show than an NFL game, personally. So why should spectators go?
I think it's really cool for anyone to go to a bodybuilding show, not just to like hardcore. You don't have to be like a hardcore bodybuilding fan or a gym rat. I think anyone can enjoy it, and it's one of the things that I think is cool for anyone who goes to a gym or is interested in fitness. It's because bodybuilding, it's live. You can go there and see things like in 3D. Nowadays, you have you have like Instagram, or you have all those like Photoshop, you have all the apps where people can retouch and manipulate. So you don't really know, like if you look at Instagram only from your smartphone, it can be misleading. You don't really know what's achievable, and then add drugs to that. So I think a natural bodybuilding show is a great way to go and witness in person what the human body can do, and then you can set goals, you can be inspired. And one of the other things that I like about going to a show is that you can go and you can actually talk to the athletes and find that they are real people. Like a lot of them have real, they have jobs. So it's like, wow, like this lady, she's a nurse. Oh, this person works at a software company. This guy's an engineer. This person's a high school teacher. Oh, wow, this guy works in construction all day.
Or this
Then
lady's,
he goes to the
or this
gym and
lady's
they'll
had six. This lady's had 6 kids, and she lost 100
yeah,
pounds to get
absolutely.
to the
And she
show,
looks
that
like
kind of
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Wow, your guest poser is 59 and he looks like that. And then you see it's really inspiring, and see how they are. Yeah, they are normal picture people. They are approachable. They just make it happen.
Yeah. Awesome. It's the natural shows are fun because it's so relatable, and there's definitely a health first mentality, a health first vibe that you get around these types of shows. The bigger ones are fun because you're like, wow, that's a human being that I'm looking at. That does not look like a human being.
And I also find like the natural shows to be more family friendly. Like if you bring your kids to a natural show and he tells you, hey, dad, I want to look like that when I grow up. Like if you know the thing is drug free, it's safe, so you can totally support them without feeling any guilt.
100%. Yeah. Family friendly, maybe with an asterisk. There are bikinis, man thongs, and
For the most part.
yeah. I'm just curious too. Of all the shows that you've done, which was your favorite show that you did in terms of how your physique looked? Not in terms of your placing or what the judges said, but you're like, yeah, this is the show that I look best at. This one.
Let me answer that second. I don't know, for whatever reason, the first thing that came to mind was the opposite. What was your worst physique? So I'm gonna start with that one. So
I didn't want to ask that one, but hey, now I'm curious. Now I have to know. Yeah, what was your worst physique?
I think my worst physique was actually 2018. That's what I brought at the Northwest Royal. And the reason why, I I do it,
That's the year that I did the Northwest Royal too. But oh no, I'm sorry, I did the Northwest Royal the year after that. My bad. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, this one's 2018. I got a corporate job, and then I was trying to prove myself. Hey, I can still have a full-time job and be a bodybuilding champion, which I still think it's possible. However, I think what I did, what I learned from that show, or what I would do different, is that I became overly technical. So I was using spreadsheets for everything. I love spreadsheets, but then and then putting numbers and macros and the RPE and the body fat percentage, but I used it to an extent that it became soulless. So I was just going to the gym, and I made this up. I call it machine. I would go on machine, now on beast mode, but machine mode, because I had like no emotion, just grinding, lifting, not feel anything, just like a robot. And it doesn't work like that. I think all the numbers and the spreadsheets, they are great to give you a guideline where you are supposed to be, but you can't disregard the human factor. You need passion. Mm-hmm. It's almost like music, right? You have like a music score, you have the lyrics. It's not just hitting the notes again like you're the machine, or like it's something automated. You have to give it soul. You have to feel it. You have to intentionally train. When you're doing your biceps curls, you have to feel it, and you have to give it purpose, and then that's also going to show on stage. And even when you're eating, you have to like savor your food. And I learned that, I was calling it going machine mode. So don't go machine mode, go human mode or beast mode, but you're not a machine. You have to give it heart and soul. So worst physique, that's when I tried to do it like a machine. Mm-hmm. And that gave me a little bit of time to think what my best physique was. I think it was right after that, after I learned a lesson next year, summer 2019. I'm gonna share some pictures with you because then I learned my lesson. Like, okay, these numbers are good, but you have to give it soul. And I did a lot of things. Again, comparing it to music, I played a lot of things by ear, and that actually felt better. And
Huh. You're a musician too? I didn't know that.
say that again.
Did you say you're a musician too?
No, 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 no. I did it
Oh,
like
okay.
like a musician.
Like a
I
musician.
wish
Got
I'm a karaoke singer, but I'm horrible.
it.
But yeah, I did it more, a little bit more intuitively, and that gave me a better result in 2019. And I think probably my happiest win was in 2013 non-BF Natural Cascades Classic. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm picking this venue, because it just brings like really good memories. 2013, I won first place novice.
Was that Katie Raymond White that promoted that one?
Marla Battles, NAMBF.
Okay.
I can remember 2012, 2013. I think it's 2013. Yeah. Bodybuilding, there was a lot of people doing it. I think one of the cool things that was it was very crowded. So even though I was only winning novice, we had like novice tall, very crowded class, novice short. Like I think it's the greatest amount of people that I beat.
Wow.
Yeah, because then when I won one of my pro cards, it was cool and all, but I got the exact number. You need 5 to win your pro card, so I exactly 5 people every time.
Yeah.
So even though this one 2013 it was only novice, it just gave me that feel.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because there's some. I mean, looking back at my shows too, there's the ones where I placed the best, and then there's the ones where I didn't place as well as I wanted to or thought I should have, but I thought I looked better and I was happy with it.
That absolutely happens, and there are things that you cannot control. I think there's another show where I was very proud of what I brought. I think it was one of John Nickerson's show. I can't remember exactly what year, maybe 2014 or something like that. I looked great, but Antonio Mitchell also looked great. So it's like, hey, I placed second after a really good guy. So that's cool too.
Heck yeah. Last question for you, sir. I totally respect your time, and thank you again so much for blocking this out for us. This has all been really helpful. This is something that I'm a bit more of an advocate of, and I wish that other coaches would kind of have more enthusiasm around this. But I see competitors that if you're natural, you're probably looking at like anywhere from a 20 to 24 week prep, right? It's like you're spending all this time dieting, not to mention the entire lifetime that it probably took you to put that muscle on in the first place, right? You do your show and then you're done. And then you just go about your normal life after that. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. You're in the best shape of your life. You're probably going to look better the day after the show. Most competitors do, because they're still under eating. So then they eat a huge meal full of a bunch of sodium and a bunch of water, and then they fill out and they look great the next day and they sleep better. And so now their cortisol levels are lower. And then you have a physique that is even better. Oh, not to mention that when you shower, I've always noticed my tan looks great the next day. So it looks competitive when you get the super, super dark tan. But then when you shower, the first layer comes off. You still have a very nice kind of semi-natural looking tan for about a week, right? That's the time to do. If you got a YouTube channel, man, you should be shooting videos every single day that next week, right? If you've got some sort of a cool idea for some photos that you can do afterwards, I mean, with other competitors too, link up at the gym or whatever, or go find some scenery, or go find like a lake background or something, or like you can find something that has mountains in the background, right? Getting the camera angle to where you're doing a bicep pose and your bicep peaks are just like a little bit higher than the mountain peaks, like Arnold talks about in his book. Fun stuff like that. What do you typically recommend someone do after a show to capitalize on all the hard work that they put in?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that one. I think it's cool to celebrate, get your cheat meal, but then like we shouldn't forget the next day that we're still bodybuilders. We're in the off season, but I think the problem is that a lot of people think like black and white, like all in, like I'm like going 100%. What's the expression? Like balls to the wall,
Yeah.
Dieting, or like dirty bulking. So I think we should never be black and white. There's a gray area.
Yeah.
Based on personal experience, I think there's no reason for us naturals to go past 10% of our stage weight. So let's say if I compete when I competed 170 pounds, I wouldn't allow myself to gain more than 17 pounds. So, the 10% of 170, because you never know. As you said, sometimes we have like cool ideas. Like I remember the other day, I saw an ad on Craigslist. They were looking for a person, like an opportunity for fitness modeling. So you can do things like that. So it's like, okay, if you give me just a few weeks, I'm gonna be like in super good shape, and I'm gonna be able to be on that ad. And I got the job. I think that was one of few times when I was paid for bodybuilding. I got 300 pictures just for a person taking a picture of myself for an ad. So you can still pursue those opportunities, even if you're not competing, or like yourself right now. You're not necessarily competing, but you can be guest posing, or you can have like that modeling gig. So it's cool that I think that this is our hobby, this is our passion. We're bodybuilders, so we're bodybuilders all year round, even if we're not competing.
100%. And especially if you're natural too. Like, and again, I hate talking about this because no disrespect to anybody that, like, we could make an argument that enhanced athletes train harder than natural athletes because they can, right? Because you can technically do more. But going into a show, okay, it's like, now what? You're going to get off all your gear, and then reality is going to is going to set in, and then you're not going to have that sustainable year round look. It's not realistic, right? As a natural bodybuilder, to stay within, I like the number. So I was just doing the math in my head right now, thinking, okay, if my stage weight is $190, then about 210 is kind of where I don't really. Let me put it this way: I feel I'm 205 right now, and I just don't like having any more body fat than I do now. I just hate
it's not gonna make you stronger. Yeah,
right. It feels gross, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm under. But I do believe that it actually hurts your testosterone levels if your body fat gets too crazy high. We know that it certainly tanks your testosterone, and I know from experience that if you diet wrong, and if you put too much stress on your body, it will kill your test. It will be tanked. Somehow we did conceive my daughter though when it was low.
Nice job, Cole.
Yeah, so still able to get the job done. But even if your body fat gets too high, that can be bad for your hormone levels too. So staying within, so keeping it no more than 10 or 20 pounds above stage weight year round, you're not gonna build muscle any faster if you go into a full on dirty bulk coming right out of a show. You need that's one of the best times to build muscle, right? Because your body's starved, and so that's why they call it the anabolic rebound. But when you get too far away, not only that, it does something to you mentally too, right? We're bodybuilders. We all have, maybe, whether it's diagnosed or not diagnosed, body dysmorphia to some degree, right? Because the day that you start lifting is the day that you're forever small. You never have enough muscle, and you always have too much fat, right? That's what all of us look at when we see the mirror, because we're perfectionists. And so I think it can really get into your head if you get too out of hand after a show.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I've seen people put on 30 pounds, no exaggeration, within a month. But I'm sure that doesn't surprise you. I'm sure you've seen it too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jairo, this has been an absolute pleasure. Again, as always, thank you so very much for all of your time. Where can people go to find out about the Open Natural?
You can find all the information, all the links for tickets, rules, signing up at openbodybuilding.org.
Openbodybuilding.org. Awesome. I'm going to put that in the show notes. Is there anything else that I should put in the show notes that people should be aware of?
Stay natural.
Where can they find you in your journey?
I have a Facebook page. Let me check. I think facebook.com/Jairo Chang, just like my first name and last name. And I'm also on Instagram at The Open Natural is the handle.
Cool. All right. So between the website and Instagram, that's how you're going to find Jairo for sure. Cool. Thanks so
All
much,
right.
brother. And
Thank you so much, Cole, for having me here
let's
again. I appreciate it, and I'm very excited to have you as our guest poster on the MC at the Open Natural.
Thanks. Don't thank me yet. I'll try to make you proud. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this entire episode. Please share this with a friend that's a bodybuilder specifically. Whether natural, non-natural, they're going to learn a lot from this one. And thanks, everybody, also for sending your questions in, because that's been keeping the content of this show very organic. And I really, really appreciate it. The growth of the channel has been organic, too. So thanks so much for sharing. Whatever platform you're listening on right now, it would really mean the world if you would take some time to put whatever feedback you have out there. I don't care if it's a 5-star rating, a 1-star rating, hopefully not a 1-star rating. Any feedback that you have at all, you can always shoot me an email. That is colt@supersetyourlife.com. And if you are a first-time competitor, you really got to check out this show, okay? I'm going to be there. I got a couple competitors there. I'm going to be the MC of the show, guest posing, and so I'd love to meet you too if you're able to make it out to that one. It's going to be in Seattle, Washington. All right, all the info is on the website down below in the show notes. Thanks a lot. God bless. We'll catch you on the next episode. Oh, and one more thing. If you haven't heard about our new show yet, we're 4 sessions into it. As of last week, Jonathan Griffiths from the UK, Mark Ennis from Ireland, and myself have all launched a new podcast called Carnivore Coaches Corner. This is a collaboration in which 2 other primal nutrition, lifestyle, and bodybuilding coaches who have much more experience and credentials than I do. We meet weekly to discuss frequently asked questions from our own one-on-one consultations, discuss trending topics in the carnivore space, and coach each other on our own journeys as competitive athletes. We've been going live on YouTube for a couple months now, 4 sessions into the new show. You can find us by searching Carnivore Coaches Corner on Spotify. And I think that's the only platform right now. I am totally working on Apple, on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, and all the other platforms too, just like this show is. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. So we're getting there. Anyway, in the meantime, you can email your questions to admin@supersetyourlife.com to hear your question answered at our next sessions. Whether it's that show or this show, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks again, and God bless.